kandoindet noton nebo Sagamnyan Stephen Koech Saitoti kokoyen nguni kokowange tetutik tugul chetinyegei ak imbaranoton. Kikobun kaimutik meng'ik chemeng'isien imbaranoton ole kong'ololi inendet en oret ne inegen komwa kole akoyen nguni kisubi tetutik chebo keker kele kakimuch kin imbaronok chebo namunet nebo imbarenik anan title deeds ak kibendi keboisien squatters ko en pcheet nebo imbaranoton. Noton kowendi koiku kelchin neo en meng'ichoton. Kotinygei ak kagenisiet neo netinye meng'ik anan biik chetinygei ak lipanet nebo chepkondok koityi alak en biik chekimuch kimanda en timdo nebo Mao kokimit ine kole mawendi koloitu noton ak miten komie tetutik choton ak kibendi kokoitogei granit koityi biik 28,000 ako ole mwoe alak en biik kole biik 12,000 komau noton. Ole kasome ine meng'ichoton kosich muitaet en kasarta noton kitesetai ak tetutik choton kong'ololi ine en kebeberta noton nebo Tenduet.
Ng'alekab emet komiten komie. Gavana nenyon kokimi oen tugul Nairobi ak koketar ng'alekab kaplelach. Anytime en nguni kebendi akot gavana komute gavana Nairobi pakeprocesseni title chebo biikab kaplelach. Ako title choton chekiprocesseni kotitinye chito mbaret akere ot cheu Chebor en ireu ko kokile chekibare status quo ing'etu chito en elilionin kotko kama ni yako ni eka moja ing'etu ake karung'ung agenge. Ko kotko ekarisiek chekuk oeng kesirun title neng'ung ko ekarisiek ata oeng. Ko choton information chotinye chebo legam ireu. Ng'alekab Mau komi rabinik lakini rabinik choton ko ngonyone ni president kolonjeni title ichukan en ireu saisi ko Sagamnyan ko kaketar lamini wendi ireu kakelipan bichombo Mau kakeib title chombo kaplelach tugul o kaketar level 4 hospital. Kit kityo nekomiten oino ko listit nekikisir en soko nekokitonon inot gavana ko 28,000 lakini kimi chekima koba yono ak listit age nekakile 12,000 aisuru ko kokile kototinye listit noton kora owekyi akoi biikab Sagamnyan konyokoker. Lakini listit nekokitononen ko nebo 28,000 ako kan ilabat chito ak imach kelipan biik 12,000 ichun alak itukun aya makingen kele kiliponi siling ata bichu kibo Mau ko koto kibo chito tor kosirgei kibate mzuri biik mutu en family anan ko 10 koset family noto akobor anan enye matongesikyingei king'wan kele ngamun katakibose listini.
En kasaratan kokimit Saitoti kole akoyen nguni kokeisto kavit en imbarenik cheboto kebeberta nebo Saire ak aliet nekikoik kaimut en kasarta nekoi ak en nguni komeng'isie meng'ik chebo kebeberatan ama en kaimut age tugul.
Komi kaviet chekikoimech asa kaviet age nombo kalyet ak Saire CCN ko kokikoite documents ako kokeisto kaviet chumbo bitonin tugul. Kotage noton nekiatinye biik alak kora chekiamoe ketoret ko bichombo tegat. Kotko mi chitab tegat ireu nekosoni komiten ele kikakichoran en imbarani bo komosin ak komosi kong'et kwenet ele makichoran ako kiakas kele maorwoche kidogo ko kwale kwa MCA neng'wong komokere kit nekararan someto kole ndoimukose akine ketoret bichombo tegat komanda en ng'alechumbo legamnyo.
Taban ak logoiwechoton nebo county nebo Narok ketokchinigei county nebo Nandi ole kanyorchigei konyoiset nebo buch nebo konyek biik cheosen kobun kot neking'oten ng'atutik nebo Alda en county nebo Nandi. Ole niton kora ak tetutiet noton nebo siret nebo ichegen tetutiet noton nebo konyoiset nebo SHA. Niton kosuldoen serikalit nebo county nebo Nandi. Ole tokyingei koker kole biik choton cheosen kobun komoswek chebo gaa en kebeberwek cheterter chebo county nebo Nandi kokanyorchigei tetutik choton chebo konyoiset.
Naangalia kwa jicho la upande wa kushoto, sikuwa naiangalia kitu chochote. Nikifunika hii ya kulia, kujaribu kuangalia kwa hii, sikuwa naiona chochote. Nilikuwa naiona tu kila mahali nikisa imekaa kama mist, sikuwa naiona chochote. Lakini saa hii nashukuru Mungu sana. Nimefurahi na ninashukuru hawa madaktari wenye wametusaidia.
Nafurahi sana kwa hii system hii watu natoa. Kwanza ilikuwa zamani nilikuwa iko nyuma sana kwa moja yaangalie kabisa. Tangu jana nimeenda kulala na amuka asubuhi kama nasikia vizuri leo ninaangalia hapana sasa kila siku.
With age, almost everyone gets cataracts. For the younger patients, mostly traumas. A lot of traumas cause cataracts, early cataracts, which are manageable.
Today we have had a medical camp which involves reviewing the people who had done cataract surgeries yesterday and now offering new services today. The services that we offered today, beginning with, is a share registration. We realize a lot of our community members, especially the elderly people, have not registered in SHA. And when they have to access services in the hospital, they...
Ngetakinge county nabo wazingishu olega gon kamuiset nabo bagap kirwaga alage en mengi ga chotan chebage beberta not nabo Eldoret akora gondwega kosipke agebet nabo beberta not negi gonorin borwega na cemetery en kabarait nabo wanjet not nabo Kipchoge stadium in Eldoret nitan ko imuch ko monge a chotan ayina alage en kondo chotana kondochin MC nabo wadit not nabo Uruma Kimani Wanjoye en moagolete tutenot go chang umutigap ang matiloy na magimuch keep kirete not na biga borora agora mamitan tegista en familia chibabiga chota chigimuch ko konrencha mane kwage be bratana agot ko not an goniton ko enga satam not na baga barai tet not na bagi wanjet en moagole taking eniton gigeri lagi much keletit en ka kachapine tap ke not na bay gorta not na bo mashujam le moagole magat ke gerge lagi much kitelen noton age keret ko buna lagen mengiga chibage be bertana nebo uwazingisho.
Venye tunaona kuna fence hivi mitaro inachimbwa hivi. Sisi yenyewe kidogo pande yetu tunakuwa na wasiwasi juu tunashindwa tutafanyiwa wapi kazi. Sasa maisha ni ngumu. Hakuna mahali unaweza kimbilia useme utalelea watu hii tunasomeshea hapa. Sasa yenyewe kidogo kwetu inakuwa ni gumu. Na venye hata tunaona hapa mili inachimbwa baka wanatoa mili ya watu ambao walikufa. Mili inakuwa ni uchungu. Sasa kama watu venye wametembea hapa kuna wengi wenye walikuwa wenyewe wanakuja hapa tunapewa kwa kazi. Naambia fieka hapa oshia mimi hiyo kaburi paka rangi. Na unapata hata tawe yako. Sasa hii tunaona hakuna mahali tutatarajia kwenda. Sasa gava ipiga yako hesabu venye vitaweza kutusukuma ama vile tunaweza fanya.
Kitu yenye naomba tu serikali waongee na watu ya hapa waelewane. Kama ni mili yao wachukue na sisi wengine wenye tulikuanga wa kuchapa hapa job tunaweza tafutiwa hata kazi zingine.
This one should be a monument rather than being a field. Na ni mkimbiaji mgani ama mchezaji mgani anaweza penda kukuja kutrainia mahali ambapo bodies have been exhumed, which part of a person. And hapa awali kulikuwa na various attempts of grabbing this land. We rejected those plans and we were opposed to those plans by the grabbers. We are not sure kama ni wale land grabbers wenye walikuwa wanataka kuiba kama bado ni wao wanapitia hii mambo ya Mashujaa Day ya kusema kwamba Mashujaa Day inafanyika hapa Pazingiru alafu baadaye warudi. We want very clear answers from the government. Na hata kama ni Mashujaa Day hii yenye wanafanya, Mashujaa Day haimaanishi kwamba tukuje tufanye kila kitu chini ya kinyume cha sheria.
Zika venye walizika hapa walifanya mambo mengi na yezi kachukuliwa tu vile tu ati watu wao wamezikwa hapa na hii shamba itakuja tu ichukuliwe bila wao kujumuishwa. Ni lazima wawekwe ndio ile heshima iwe pale. Ile heshima nao waone pia wanapendwa. Mradi ni kitu mzuri. Tunapenda mradi ya stadium. Lakini pia nao katika huo mradi lazima
en logoiywekab ko Inspector General nebo Police Nemoni Douglas Kanja kokagomwa kole kibendi kepchin kakwautiik chebo ng'atutik afisaek chotok chebo police cheboisie en kasarta noton kaimuch kobet sobet chi noton nekakimuch kenam akekeren ketesiet nebo police. Niton ko en tuyet nekaimuch koyai en kibagenge ak regional commanders ole kaimuch kobor kaimetabgei noton Douglas Kanja akobo koitet noton nekotestai kolany barak nebo biik chebete sobet en kasarta nemi ketesiosiek chotok chebo police akora afisaekab police chechuchin yautik chebo chelesosnatet en mwoe kole betusiek chemite tai kebendi ana yautik cheu choton kobendi kotuitos ak ng'atutik chebo emoni.
Crime going up in your areas of responsibility. You as a commander, you'll be the first one to be questioned. And when I talk about the commander, when I talk about Rift Valley, they're all commanders in Rift Valley. That's the regional police commander, the regional AP commander, the regional CID commander.
And I want to make it very, very clear. any death occurring in police cells, the OB recorder, the cell sentry, and the duty officer, those officers must be interdicted immediately, pending investigation of whatever happened. That is something that you are the commanders on the ground, and you must ensure that happens.
En logoiywek ko kakoyomis nebo ng'echeret en kibagengeit noton ne chiglile suldaetab boisionik ko afisaekab police IPOA nekokikwany noton ko Duncan Ajwang kole wendi kokusingong koker kole IPOA kaimuch kosuldaen boisionikwak en oret noton netogunot akot en kasarta noton netiengei motwet nebo police en kasarta age tugul. Kong'ololi ine en kasarta noton nekimuch ketebsen en tait nebo committee nebo bunge nebo noton ko departmental committee ole kabit tebsenyin kingokwo ine President William Ruto kotinga paroindo neginamo Isaac Hassan.
A process of training the current police, all of them, on policing, especially public assembly, within the human rights age. Some of the culture, of course, are colonial legacy and of how our police came to be, but the police must now understand the 2010 Constitution and mainstream human rights.
No security of tenure in IPOA. Most of the deputy directors or even the CEO are on contract.
The issue of the staff welfare also is closely tied to funding, and that with enough and adequate funding, of course it will never be adequate. With enough and adequate funding, of course it will never be adequate.
En logoiywek alak koniton ko kayamiset kobun kandoindet nebo emoni President William Ruto ole konu kurset koityi kandoik tugul ak sectors cheterter chebo serikali koker kole kaimuch konamgei eun akobois en kibagenge koret agenge nebo komut emoni akosulda keret nebo emet nebo Kenya en betusiek chemiten tai. Niton ko ng'alalet nebo President William Ruto kasarta noton nekaimuch kondochi tuyet nebo ng'alalutik chebo keret noton nebo kenyit nebo 2060 noton ko Vision 2060 kakimuch en kotab anagot noton nekiyoen tuyosiek en emoni KICC. Kosubkei ak President William Ruto komwoe kole chang tuguk chekotestai kosuldaen serikali en nguni ak magat en stakeholders tugul konamgei eun akokusikong tetutik ak kakwautik chebo keker kele kaimuch kosulda keret noton nesire kenyit noton nebo 2030 noton ko agendas chenyorunen kelchin biikab emoni.
Let me request that we agree that if my suggestion is good, I must be willing to give way to a better suggestion by somebody else. And if that somebody else's suggestion is better, they must also be willing to give up to the best suggestion so that we can all move forward together. So that would be my suggestion. Maybe other people can also have an idea of how we take this forward. Because I think one thing is a given, that we are here, it is now upon us, Article 3 of the Constitution, that we are obligated to think about how we move. And each one of us has as much obligation as I do as a citizen for us to give our input of where we want Kenya to be. I deliberately avoided in my statement 2060 or 2063 or 20... That should be also a suggestion by Kenyans. Beyond 2030, what do we want to call it? How do we want to frame that future? And we want to do it together. Finally, I want to ask those of us who are here. We have student leaders, we have religious leaders, we have business leaders, we have political leaders. We must not abscond duty. We must not run away from responsibility. I know there is a temptation. We have civil society leaders. All of us have a stake in Kenya. So sometimes people want somebody else to do. But that somebody else could as well be. All of us have a stake in Kenya. So sometimes
En kamastanyin rubiyot president in emoni Professor Kithure Kindiki ga imuch kolos tetutik choto che tertera jogo testai kosuldaen serikalit nebo Kenya Kwanza ole mwae Kindiki kole ako yeni nguni kokomuch kokaranit anan kokomuch kotelelot uchumi noto nebo emoni ako kora kikanapta sectors che terter chebo tekset nebo oratinwek ak kiwanjoshek choto chebo indegeit ak inde tetutik chekikanapta en tetutik at sector noto nebo somanet tililindo ak kora boroinwek choto chebo boisionik kotubo the sector not about kabatisiet.
Been able to work on the agricultural transformation, and we have achieved a number of things under the agricultural transformation pillar. We have been able, for example, to register our farmers. We used to work, know how many farmers we have, where they are, what they grow, the size of their farms, the kind of fertilizer they need. Now we have been able to increase our production of some of the major value chains in agriculture. Maize production has grown from 44 million bags in 2022 to 75 million bags last year to underwrite our food security. Unga prices have also been moderated from 250 shillings to right now around 140, 150 for 2 kilograms. We've also been able to transform the coffee sector by removing cartels and increasing our production of coffee, and also the income to coffee farmers has now grown from 60, 70 shillings a kilo of cherry to about 120 to 160 per kilogram of cherry. Our tea production has grown from 138 billion shillings in 2022 to last year's 215 billion shillings. Our sugar production has grown from 472,000 metric tons in 2022 to last year's 815,000 metric tons of sugar. And therefore, that is a big milestone in terms of that value chains. And we have now more farmers benefiting in that sector. We have revived the industries and the factories in the sugar sector and so forth and so on.
Chitap kolenji na kawangunet ab Kenya logoiwek choton noton ko kalalet nebo rubeiwotab president ko kagetuch logoiywekab emet en koindo chekokitetunen saini. Nenyon ko Daisy Langat testai ketesiet nebo Nenyon TV amon Kimii Gaa.
Nenyon TV.